if you are a real estate agent and you want more warm leads in your life, AI can help you make content in a fraction of the time. So in this video, I will show you exactly how I use it myself. All right, so let's get into it. So first of all, like how to use AI to get more warm leads. And the problem is that, most agents aren't even using AI to make content. So first of all, like that's the big problem. There are two main things. First of all, like there like not enough agents out there in the world that is even using the power of social media and making content. And out of those people who do, like there are far too few people that are leveraging AI to make content. So that's I felt like this is such an important video to be making, because honestly I'm saving probably like 10 hours every single week. That's equals to 40 hours every single month. So stick with me here. So the goal really here is that, we want to have, more warm leads in our life. Of course, like that's the main topic. That's, everything I'm doubling down on myself. We want to be able to, make better content in less time. So if those are the goals, meaning that the absolute dream is that you can just click on, click or press a button and then you have a content and then you can make it. So if we can make things as easy as possible, and if we can take this, big friction and thing that a lot of people are feeling like, I don't have the time for it. If I can show you a system that really are giving you, the best leverage for making as much content as possible in as little time as possible, I think that's, very valuable. And now I think it's important to just jump directly into, okay, well, some tactics. How do I use it myself when it comes to short form content? So first of all, what I mean by AI is, of course, I'm using ChatGPT. There are many ones out there. There are Claude, Gemini. You have so many ones. I'm not an expert in that topic, but first of all, I'm using what I know, and I know that a lot of people of you watching right now, you have ChatGPT in your life. Maybe you're using it for work, maybe using it for working out, whatever it might be, right? So that's why I just feel like, okay, let's use the one that we're most familiar with. So I'm just going to walk you through a little bit how I do it. So first of all, I click on ChatGPT and then I create a project. So very simple. In the left side of the app, you have your chats, and then you have projects. So you can click on create a project. And the way I go about this is that for every single platform, I'm really going all in on LinkedIn. I'm going all in on YouTube. I'm sitting here speaking to you, right? So those are the two things that I'm really doubling down on when it comes to platforms. So for every single one of them, I have a project. So if you want to make YouTube videos, you create a new project, you click on ChatGPT, you might call it YouTube AI. Or if you want to make LinkedIn videos, Instagram videos, wherever, you click on and create a new project, and then you call it the platform that you want to make content on. So if you want to make content on Instagram, you call it for Instagram AI, or whatever you feel, is your vibe. And then you should be having one project for each platform, meaning that if you are making content on two platforms, you have two ones. And then what you're doing is that once you have created a project, you have a chat as, how the platform works. And then you make sure that every single time you make content, you always click on the same place, meaning in the project, you have the same chat. So what I do is that then I just click on the same project, I click on the same chat, and then I just click on the talk button. And this is a huge one, because I think for, for the first year of me using ChatGPT, or a very long time at least, I didn't use the talking function because I just didn't know how freaking good it was. So if you are typing on ChatGPT, please stop, at least in where you have the opportunity to not to, right? So then you click on talk, and then I click the button, I speak my mind freely. So if I have my idea, as you can see here, I brain dump my idea. So usually I have some kind of rough idea of what type of post I want to make, and then I click on the talk button, I speak freely on my mind. It doesn't have to be that well through, or thought through. You just have to, just the thoughts you have, just dump them into ChatGPT by talking to it. And then when you have done that, I think it's very important to, this is where the goal really lies, is that how you prompt it to work. So a lot of people, they might use ChatGPT even if they are, and then they might even click on the talking function, but then they speak and they might end it with like, okay, I want you to make a post for me. But what I've felt and what I've started to implement over the last months that have given me very good results is that I end every single conversation I have with ChatGPT with the following. So let's have, talk to it about the things I wanted to make a post about, and then I finish with something like this. So, and what I want you to do right now is to give me 3 different versions of this post. And as we know by now, the second thing that is very important to do is talking about the hook. So what I want you to do right now is to also explain to me why you believe the hook you have given me for all these 3 versions are the absolute best one. Because as we know by now, if the hook is crap, no one is going to watch it. So that's why it's so damn important to make sure that the hook is very good. I want you even to go the next mile. You can even ask ChatGPT to give you 3 different versions of a hook as well. And the last thing I always prompted with is that for the more time you use ChatGPT, the more it will understand what's your voice. So I always finish it off with, and I want you to explain to me why you believe that this is in my voice. So to summarize, you do 3 things in the end. You want it to have 3 different versions, so you can pick one where you feel like it feels like the most you. And then secondly, you talk about the importance of the hook, because if the hook is bad, the post is not gonna perform. And the last thing that I find to be very important is that you make sure that ChatGPT explains to you why he or she believes that the post is in your voice. I found that to be very important. And the reason why it's so important is because, we live in a world with AI. There's so much crap out there. I'm seeing a lot of things on LinkedIn that is absolute garbage, to be honest. So all these social media platforms is just getting absolutely flooded with crap, meaning that if you want to stand out, you really have to make sure that you're, leaning into who you are, what's your voice, etc. Because the worst thing is that you're just looking like everyone else, and you're just using AI and telling it to like, can you make me 30 posts for the next 30 days? And that is absolutely bad, because that's what a lot of people are doing, and it's currently not working at all. Yes. So, sorry. So let's jump into the next one, which are some, important rules as well. So first of all, I was talking a little bit about it earlier, but I just found it to be very important that, AI should just help you think. It shouldn't think for you, because if there's something AI is very good at is, to be structured, to be, the way I see it is that I just look at it as a robot. So I think it's very good at math and, all these things. Of course, I'm not an AI expert, but I just believe that the thing that really makes humans so truly amazing is, our ability to, create relationships with people, and also to be very creative. So I do believe that the human mind is absolutely amazing when it comes to creativity, and we can easier understand what's relatable to other people. Meaning that you should just help, use AI in a way, where it's, help you think, instead of like replacing your voice entirely. Because I'm 100% certain that there's many agents out there that, might even go into ChatGPT and tell it to like, okay, well, can you help me make, 5 posts a week for the coming year? And then you get like, 250 posts, and you just take it, copy, paste it, and you just do that, and you get shit results because, the suggestions you're getting are very bad. So that's why I want you to not like take a cheat code and try to save even more time by just taking, things and suggestions from ChatGPT without thinking. I want you to really, use it as a tool and tweak things yourself. that's the way, you know, I use it myself at least. And when it comes to long form content, because, you know, earlier we just talked about short form content, I would say it's kind of like the same thing. As I talked about before, I have a folder that is called YouTube AI as a project, you know, inside of ChatGPT. And then I do the same thing. I click on the talk button, I brain dump for 10 minutes. I talk about, you know, what's the most important things. And also tell it to like give me some title ideas and give me some intro ideas. And as you can see, you know, all the bullets and things I have on my Canva board, you know, I have fine-tuned that with ChatGPT. So the thing, as I've just done before, when it comes to short form content, I found it to be very important as well to prompt it in a way as, you know, help me fine-tune a very good intro for the video. Please help me with the packaging of the YouTube video as well, so thumbnail, title, etc. So that's really the way I go about it for long form content as well. And the main reason, you know, why this is so important in my, you know, eyes at least, it's because, you know, it saves you so much time. As I said earlier in this video, like I would not be able to make this amount of content without leveraging AI, at least not when I'm working full time on, you know, being a real estate agent as well. And what I love about it as well is that it gives you a lot of structure, because you click on it, you talk what you want to talk about, and, you know, it's very efficient. Because if you would just like do this on your own, like first of all, like just the benefit of me, you know, I'm from Sweden. You know, English is not my, you know, native language, meaning that, you know, it's helped me with spelling and stuff like that. Of course, this type of videos, I'm, you know, speaking from my mind. I have some kind of bullet list, but for my LinkedIn post, for example, I make sure that, you know, all my, you know, all the grammar and, you know, all the spelling is correct. And I just love it as well because it gives you a lot more clarity and it helps you to publish more. So for me, it saves me at least 10 hours every single week, and that is a lot of time. So I just wish someone would have told me this a lot sooner, so to say. So what happens as a result if you do this? Well, you get a lot more content out. So let's say that you're an agent, you work your ass off, because agents, generally speaking, work a lot. Let's say that you post one post a week. I'm very certain that you can go from 1 to 3 or even from 1 to 5 just by using AI, leveraging your time, making sure that you work in a smart way. And if you look at the way I do this, well, I usually on Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays, I just sit down and I make every single piece of content for the next coming week when it comes to YouTube and on LinkedIn. So I batch, record or create my content. For me, I just found it to be a very smart winning, move. And then it's, very simple for me to just, okay, now I'm going to take 1 hour. I'm going to make, every single LinkedIn post for next week. And then boom, I'm done. I go to the next one. And the last two ones, like, it gives you a lot more consistency. And I just do believe that, the way I see it is that, using ChatGPT in this way, it's like having a, super smart assistant that helps you and is there for you when you want to make, more content. And in the end, if you really think about it, okay, so you're able to put more content out. It saves you a lot of time as well. Which means that if you're putting more quality content out there, it saves you a lot of time, meaning that for the time you spend on making content, you should be making or getting more warm leads with time. So that's really this video. I just hope that you found this valuable as well. Don't forget to join my email newsletter if you haven't watched it already. And don't forget to watch this video where I talk to you about the absolute importance of having an email newsletter. It's by far, for 2026 and moving forward, the ones who have the best email newsletters is going to be the winning agents for the future.